Welcome back. In this video, we're going to start the creation of our gameplay tags and get that part of the ability system configured. So there's going to be two things that we're going to do today, and that's going to be creating our asset manager and a gameplay tag. I guess it's a singleton, so that it applies to the entire project, and there's only one of them. And then we'll start to create some gameplay tags, and where I've got a attribute set here, which is another object with some potential gameplay tag names, which we'll get into later. Okay, so let's start with a gameplay tag. So if we look at gameplay tags in project settings, you can get there from edit project settings. I just leave that tab open all the time. You end up coming back here for different things. Anyways, under gameplay tags in 5.3, it looks a little different than others. But anyways, you can go to this little gear here, manage gameplay tags, and you can see the gameplay tags that come as part of the default installation. I wouldn't remove any of these without some testing, just in case, because I'm not exactly sure which ones are maybe used for the engine in its own debugging situation. So I would just leave all of these, but feel free to try to remove them and see if you get any problems. Anyways, so this is where we want to see our gameplay tags populate. And we could just add them directly, obviously. You can add them directly from here, or you can create data tables of them or ini files of them. There's all sorts of ways to do that. But in all of those ways, the gameplay tag is only available in this editor, i.e. the in Blueprints. And we can access them from C++, but it's a little bit cumbersome. So what we want to do is create our own gameplay tag singleton or a class or structure inside C++, and we're going to set them equal to variables within C++ so that we can access them as variables, and then they will also be very accessible because they're going to show up here because of our asset manager that we're going to be adding, and they'll be then available and usable within Blueprints as well. So it's the best of all worlds. Although it might be a little bit more difficult or um, codey to actually get the gameplay tag in as opposed to just clicking add tag and whatever. So to be able to get it to read our gameplay tag from C++ and have it set those ones to be the native tags, one of the things that we need, and I believe that's right, description of that, is we need an asset manager. So that's one thing that we're going to create, and I'm going to create it right up in the public section of our project here. Let me just make sure that that's where I want to put it. Do, 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 public. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to go here. We're going to go new C++ class. We're going to go to all classes, and we're going to go to asset manager. And that's what we want here. We're going to go next, and I'm going to call it HFX asset manager. We're going to leave it in the public, basically kind of like right up at the root, because it's going to be accessible from everywhere, or I guess anything would be, but it's just a high level object. And we're going to create the class, and we'll let it add its code. Okay, I'm going to say no. And there's one other one that I'm going to add as well at this high level, which is going to be a for our gameplay tags. And I'm going to go new C++ class, but it's not based on any engine class. It's just going to be a empty C++ class. So we're going to pick none. And I'm going to say yes. It's going to be up at the public level. And I'm going to call this HFX gameplay tags. And that's where we're going to um, define all of our gameplay tags. And then our asset manager is going to refer to this object to get it populating. So I'm going to create this class now too. And say no, save all, and exit. Okay, and we're going to reload all in our C++ Visual Studio. And here we got our gameplay tag class and our asset manager. And I've got our player state, which I think we might still be using a little bit later, and our ability system component. We'll leave all those open. Got lots of room. Okay, so let's start with, I'm going to start with our asset manager. And we get to do one other thing with it once we get this thing started. So we're going to have a public section, and we're going to have a protected section. Um, maybe in the future we'll have a private section. I don't know. The main thing that this is going to do is it's going to get the um, asset manager of the engine and make it. And then we're going to set it to be this one. If that, I think that's right. Hey, I'm just learning as we go too, eh, Betty? So this is a static um, UHFX asset manager reference, and it's a get to the static class of it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know exactly what I'm talking about, but that's okay. If I ever learn more, I'll tell more. Um, so we can create that get, and we are going to create it. And since we are going to be well, we don't need to do that yet. So to get the asset manager from the game, we need to get the game engine, and to make sure that the game engine is running and valid at this point in time, we want to do a check on G engine. We'll crash horribly if we don't, which is great, because then we'll know a problem. So we are going to get our pointer to our asset manager, and we'll call it HFX asset manager. We're going to set that equal to our cast to our HFX asset manager. And what are we going to cast? We're going to cast G engine asset manager. because there's only one. And now that only one is going to be, once we return a dereference pointer to our HFX asset manager variable. So now the one and only asset manager is this class. So whoopity-doo, right? Yeah, okay. So here we want it to um, initialize with our gameplay tags. And so to call that, to be able to call that, we're going to override a function, the virtual void function called start initial loading override. And we can create that definition. And in that definition, let me just check here. Yeah, okay, got all my includes. In this definition, we want to, first of all, do the super for anything else that it wanted to do before dealing with us. And it'll probably keep that little marker there for now. And now we want to call a function that's going to initialize our native gameplay tags in our gameplay tag class. Of course, we haven't made that yet. So I'm going to pause. I'm not going to pause, but we're going to leave this class and we're going to go to our gameplay tag creation here. And since it's going to be dealing with gameplay tags, it will need to have the include for the gameplay tag container .h. And what we're going to do is start this all from scratch. So we're going to delete all of that. And I'm going to go into gameplay tags and I'm going to delete all of these. Remember, this was just our singleton. So maybe we'll put a note to this. This is our singleton containing our native, i.e. C++ gameplay tags. Oops. Okay. So we're going to make a struct. I'm going to spell struct properly. And we're going to call it FHFX gameplay tags. And it'll have a public section, which I guess they always do. And we're going to want a protected section. And we're going to want a private section. I'm not going to make another public getter section down here because there's going to be basically only one get for this this struct, and that's going to be up here where it's going to be able to return itself. So if that is a static constant function, f hfx gameplay tags reference, calling the get function, and it's going to return it's going to return a variable on itself, which we haven't set yet. So we're going to just do that first. And that's going to be its private, uh, it's a static uh, variable. That because it's static because we're going to populate it here and then nowhere else can it change it or add to it. I think that's right. FHFX gameplay tags. And we're going to call it, you guessed it, gameplay tags. Okay. And there's a special implementation for that. If we go into our CPP file for that, we are going to have FHFX gameplay tags, and we'll call it FHFX gameplay tags, fully qualified, and called gameplay tags. So now we've got our variable. Going back to here. So in our get, it's going to return our gameplay tags. Wonderful. So we can save all of that. Now, like I said, when we were in our asset manager, we wanted to call a function to initialize our native gameplay tags. So let's create that function. So it's going to be a public function. And let's make a note just so we remember that it's called from the HFX asset manager on start initial loading. Okay, so it's a static function and it's void, and we'll call it initialize the native gameplay tags. Okay, and we're gonna create a definition for that. Now, feel a little bit loopy here, but so here we want to, we're going to get our gameplay manager. So we're going to need to include gameplay tag manager.h. And then here we're going to go gameplay tag manager reference. We'll call it the manager. And that's going to be equal to basically just the get of it. That's going to get the one that's going to be defined for this project, which we have created our own class of. So this is the get for that. Okay. That's all we need here for a moment. So we're going to, from here, I'm going to jump back to our asset manager. And in the CPP file, we were going to call a function here, and that function is going to be in our gameplay tags .h file, so we'll include that. So we're going to include hfx gameplay tags.h. And we're going to call that initialization one here. So we're going to go fhfx gameplay tags, and we're going to get our initialize gameplay tags function. Okay. So when the engine starts, it's going to basically get directed to this, and it's going to call this, and then we're going to read all the tags that are in here and then show it to everybody. So the question is, how does it know to call this to start with? Well, we need to direct it here, and the way we direct it here is I'm going to just type it here as a reminder to everybody, and I'm going to say that the asset, that out of the way, the asset manager for the project is set in the config file default engine.ini. And there's a section in there in square brackets for /script /engine.engine. And the line that we're going to add is asset manager class name, notice the capitalization, equals /script /name of your project. So that's hfx underscore, template dot, and then the name of this class, hfx asset manager. No u, no dot h, nothing, just that's it. So I'm going to just save that. So let's open that file. We can get that from our little droppy down thing here. In config, and open our default engine. And what you could do, like this file could get long and confusing, but what we could do is do a find for asset manager. And hopefully we find 0. It's red, so it hasn't found any of those, so that's good. So it's not defined twice. Here's our section under script engine.engine. So we're just gonna, now here's a thing, I guess, what you want to make sure is you go to the end of this line and then push enter so that it gets a carriage return line feed for when it's reading this. Otherwise it just gets an insert line and it can bugger up. So that's the thing. So here we're going to just add our asset manager class name equals /script /hfx underscore template /hfx script template dot hfx asset manager. Okay, I can save that. And just double check it. Make sure that's what I commented before here. One of these. Asset manager class name script hfx dot hfx manager. Yep. So I can close that, and that's there. And so far, I think we're so far so good. So let's add a couple of tags. So going back to our gameplay tag dot h, I'm going to, in our public section here, make some space here, and I'm going to make some primary attributes. So being a template, I kind of want to have a number of these always in here. And whether you use them all, it doesn't really matter because it's pretty small addition to just have some standard ones in here. But like I had shown at the beginning here, um, as far as attributes go, there's vitals, there's primary ones, there's secondary ones. I think a lot of games deal with strength, intelligent wisdom, all that role playing stuff. They have health, stamina, mana in one shape or form. Um, and you might have secondary ones. Well, you're definitely going to have maximums that you can go to, that you're going to want to reference or increase or deal with. Regenerates. Um, some sort of physical defense, so like armor class or some other damage mitigation ideas. Speed that might be relative to dexterity, willpower to deal with saving throws or just another resistance to magic or something like that for based on intelligence or wisdom. Perception, again, based on intelligence and charisma or something, maybe. Influence would be a charisma type thing, and maybe intelligence together, and maybe even with some strength in there because that could be influential. So that's kind of where I'm seeing a good base attribute set to have. Other tags that we will probably end up using will be for character state, as in crouching or jumping or aiming down sight or, playing dead, whatever you might want, right? You'd create some character state tags for those as well. We're going to start with these, and yeah, so let's see what these look like. So first thing we're going to do at this point here is we're going to create a variable of type gameplay tag, that is going to be a one-to-one relationship to our gameplay tag that we're going to create. So I'm going to just start with one of these right now, and we're going to use strength. And so this is going to be an F gameplay tag, and I'm going to call it attribute. Attribute or attributes? I'm going to call it attribute, and it's going to be primary, and it's going to be strength. Strength. Yeah, that's about right. So there's our gameplay tag. And I'm going to make a, and I'm going to make a, I'm going to make, I'm going to make a couple of functions here, just because it's going to make it a lot cleaner when we go to build this on mass, because otherwise there'd be a lot of duplicated code. So um, I'm going to make a void function called add tag. I'm going to call a void function called add all tags, and it's going to need the gameplay manager. So our gameplay tags manager, reference to it, manager. Okay. And it doesn't know what this is. So we can forward declare that. So we'll put that up here. And we'll class u gameplay tags manager. Okay, now let's we can create this definition. I'm not going to put anything in it right now. I'm going to come back here. I'm going to add another function, and it's going to be called void. It's going to be a void function called add tag. And it's going to take a gameplay tag reference, and we'll give it a tag variable name, and a constant. Here's a format I'm not entirely fluent with, but it's basically an ANSI character pointer, ANSI character pointer tag name, and a constant ANSI character pointer tag comment. Because there's every tag you can have a like a dev comment, so an internal comment that you can see, which you don't need to necessarily use, but probably a good thing to use just for documentation as you go along. So let's create a definition for that. Okay. So now we've got these two functions, and we've got our first primary strength tag. So let's go into our CPP file for that. And what we'll do is when we call the initial gameplay tags, okay, so we get the manager, and then we're going to do, we're going to get the gameplay tags, and we're going to add all tags with the manager. Okay. And in the add all tags, we are going to, so I'll put a comment here for adding primary. Okay, so we're going to add tag, right? So we're going to call our other function. We're going to give it our gameplay tags dot attribute primary strength. So that was our variable name. And we're going to now define the string value, or the way that the string gets read by the engine to create the tag, right? So basically the underscores get replaced with dots. So this would be attribute dot primary dot strength. Okay. And then we can give it a tag comment. We could say primary attribute of strength. You could, affects physical damage or something, whatever, anything to when you're working with it that you want to have that information available or be able to communicate it. I don't think it's all that critical, but we should have something there. And then, yeah. So then we have our add tag. And so now in add tag, where the magic, I guess, happens, we go the tag variable name, because it was passed in as reference. So we're going to set it here. Tag variable name is equal to the U gameplay tags manager, and we call it get. And we're going to add the native gameplay tag using an F name of our tag name with a um, dev comment, and we're going to prefix our dev comment with the word native, um, which I think it would do if there was, because this would be set to a default, but we're going to add f string text native, and put that in brackets, because that's what it normally would show. So we're just trying to make it the same. And then we're going to add to that our f string of our tag comment. And just see if I got all the right number of brackets. I think I got it there. Okay. So as we want to add each and every one of these, right, we would add our variable here. We would go into our CPP file and we would add this line, or an equivalent line, under add all tags, right? And then they will all get added. At the end, after this function returns, comes back, so these will all have been set, we want to tell the manager that we're done. So manager dot done, adding native tags. Just so you know, the manager can go have a coffee. And I think that's basically all that needs to be done. So let's save all. And I'm going to just close another window here. And I'm going to build this, see if we've got any errors. This might take a moment or two, so this might, so that just took like 2.5 minutes or so. I like telling people that it took 2 minutes or whatever, because it's hard to see the number at the bottom, but also I find sometimes you go like, boy, the guy's that's showing this, sure, his stuff sure compiles fast. That's because he probably paused as well. But just so that you know that sometimes it does take a lot longer than others. But anyways, so let's see if this starts, and if we get our gameplay tag in our in the project settings. So let's go debug. Start without debugging. Very exciting. Let's see if we didn't crash, so that's a good start. Go to project settings and gameplay tags. And if I look at them, there's our attribute primary strength, and it's a native tag. How about that? Perfect. So now we can go and add more and more and more of them. I find it funny that it doesn't actually give you the the dev comment, but I guess that's because it's a dev comment, not a exposed comment maybe. But that's good. So I'm going to add a bunch, and I will maybe return back to here when once I've got them all added. I don't know if you need to or want to watch me do a whole bunch of typing here, but basically that's the template to follow. And yeah, so thanks for watching. Um, we'll start off the next video with a quick review of what I've added here, and we'll move on to the next step, which I think is going to be um, creating our attribute set and and creating a data asset to link our attribute set um, to our attribute tags. Okay, and so have a great day. Like and subscribe if you like it. Any comments below, and if you got better descriptions or references to some of the things that I'm not too sure of, always be happy to take that information. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.